Hey everybody, welcome back to Record-ology. Gosh, my hair is weird. What is this? How did I end up with this? So I did spend the day at the beach. That might have had something to do with it, but I came home and washed my hair, and now I just added volume, and it's very beachy looking. I'll go with it. Okay, it kind of looks werewolfish. It kind of feels werewolfish, but it's okay. So how are you guys doing? I hope you're having a wonderful day or night or evening or whenever the heck it is that you're watching this replay. And if you're able to jump on the live, that is awesome as well. I know that the timing doesn't necessarily work out for everybody. So for those that are able to jump on live, I sure appreciate it. All right. So yeah, today, what are we doing? Mostly I just want to hear from you guys, and it's going to be a shout out as you come in. Don't forget the thumbs up if you wouldn't mind. I had a little haul to share with you, a tiny haul, and it's just because I didn't get much records, and that's okay, because you know what? I'm overflowing with records right now. I'm very blessed in that regard, in many regards. But yeah, I need more crates because literally I've got little stacks of like 5 or 10 records leaning up here and there and everywhere. So I don't need to bulk up in any means, by any means, I should say. But at the same time, I can't help myself because, like all of you probably, I'm a collector. Depending on your perspective, I could be a hoarder, but I'm a person who enjoys the acquisition of records, and you got to have a place to put them. So I am very selective in what I pick up these days. I don't, 5, 6 years ago, I would be like grabbing things that I was a little bit like, well, this is kind of cool. That's kind of interesting. And I would buy way more, you know what I mean? Whereas now I'm like, well, I already have, something similar, or yeah, I do enjoy this. I have it on CD, but I don't really need a record of it and stuff like that. Or I've also received a lot of gifts, records from people, and which is great. I mean, it's a huge blessing. But I've just bulked up. I've just got, I don't need to just accumulate for the sake of accumulating, but I still love the thrill of the hunt. I still like shopping for records. I still like flipping, picking, whatever you may call it. So welcome in, everybody. Old Radios, Levente, welcome in. Oh, really? You've got this right there? That's cool. Really, really cool. March of 1899. That is really, really neat. Got an Ion record player. I watched a review and it's amazing. Good. I'm glad you like it. That's cool. That's a fun little unit for sure. Columbia Eagle, manufactured 1897. Oldest player yet. Wow, that's cool. That's really, really cool. I had a friend of mine has been working on a lot of those things recently, and kind of asked me if I was interested in maybe getting one. I was like, Ironically, before I started this channel, that's where what I thought I was going to want to do is because I was watching a lot of the Victrola guy on YouTube, and I'm like, well, that would be fun. Maybe I want a cylinder phonograph. And his videos that he was doing back then were really entertaining, and I just learned so much about shaving them off and recording new things. I actually have a cylinder record. I don't have a way to play it. It's just like I'm like Jarrett, like that. Here's something cool, but I have no way to play it for you. It's a display piece. That same friend gave it to me. It's a blue Amberol, beautiful record. But I started off thinking that's what I wanted to do. But my son and I both have asthma, and I was like, do we really want to be shaving moldy wax? And you know what I mean? It was just a mess. It was just. Plus, I don't really enjoy any of the music that was recorded on those. I know some people do, and that's fine for those that do. But for me, I really enjoy other music, more modern music. Now, I say more modern. I should put in air quotes because I'm like 1930s and onward. You know what I mean? So, whereas a lot of people consider last year's music old. So, I guess in that perspective, I still listen to ancient music. It's just slightly less ancient music than that. And then I was like, well, I want to get into records, and I really love Glenn Miller. I love big band music. And so when I pitched the idea to my wife of getting into yet another hobby, I'm known for having way too many hobbies. I have, you guys see the Record-ology side of me. You see the vinyl, but I'm just as deep in a lot of other things. Retro video games, model railroading, history, books, you name it. And so I've got way too many hobbies, and I don't need any more. And I haven't needed any more for a long time. But as I was watching more YouTube, I started going down this rabbit hole. I'm like, man, I really want to get into this. And they were, this was 2015, 2016. That's how recently I jumped into this. A lot later than most of you, I'm sure. And I had records as a kid. So in the 80s, I had my Fisher Price. By the way, thank you for watching that video. I'm glad it's doing well. That was a lot of fun to put together. Interesting story about how I put that together. And I don't know where I was going with that. Wow, I really lost my train of thought. Anyway, might as well get caught up on comments. Simon from Australia, welcome. In Columbia AJ 1902, the first disc model of Columbia. That's cool. Channel has been a huge help for me and my wife picking a record player and vinyl in general, hoping to upgrade to the Victrola Empire mid-century soon. Yeah, it's interesting how those names keep changing. Well, I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad you're having fun, and I'm glad they're helpful as well. Glad to have you guys along for the ride. Finally bought an M3 MacBook Air. Wow. Going all out, my friend. That's cool. My recent pickups at the thrift store, Soul, Coughing El Oso, Days of the New, and Schoolhouse Rocks. Bunch of alternative bands covering the old ABC education songs. That's cool. Yeah, I know about Schoolhouse Rocks. The other ones I haven't heard of, but that's cool. I'm a JJ Cali fan. I was looking for a record player. I was looking at a Crosley, but I ended up with an Ion. Now I just need a Queen record in my collection. Sorry for misspelling English. No, you're good. That's cool. Yeah, it's really fun. And when you first start out, you're like, okay, where do I start? Because like me, I was like, ooh, do I get one of everything I have in vinyl, or do I, just get a couple of things? Okay, so now I know what I was saying a minute ago. So back to my story. I pitched the idea. I'm like, look, to my wife, the boss. I said, oh, I just want to get into records. I want to have a lot of records. And I said, and she's like, where are you going to put it? And I'm like, well, just one record player. I'm not sure, maybe in the office, which didn't go over too well because I'm known for sort of taking more than my fair share of space. And I was like, and I'll maybe get 5 or 6 records. And in my mind, I was just going to get some 78s. And at the time, and this may make you laugh. This is funny to think back on, especially now that I'm like up to my elbows in all these turntables. I just wanted a suitcase player. I thought they were cool. I liked the vintage look. I liked the portability. I liked the size factor. I liked the fact they were 3 speeds. I knew that they weren't the best in terms of the stylus being micro groove for playing a wide groove 78. But, for my purposes, again, it wasn't going to replace my whole collection of music and a massive amount of digital music. And so she's like, I have my doubts that you could really control it like that. I'm like, trust me, it'll be fine. Fast forward, that was 2015 probably. And I've got 3. I have to have 3 actual turntables because I can't just live with one. 3 preamps and sometimes internal, sometimes external. A lot of records, more than this much on the shelf. Also cassettes, shelves of cassettes, all my CDs, still buying CDs, reel-to-reel tapes, collections, box sets stacked up, reel-to-reel tape, mini disc. We'll have mini disc too, multi-disc CD changers, tuners, switches, 8-track. I was resisting 8-track. You guys pulled me. I blame you guys. You pulled me in on 8-track, and I was a deal that was too good to miss. And I finally, okay, I'll dip my toe into 8-track. And I have to say this, I like 8-track better than I like mini disc, which has given me nothing but grief. Nothing but grief. I've bought multiple players. Every one of them has problems. The technology in my mind is just not durable. Now, some people will be like, oh, mini disc is great. I still use mine. They work perfectly and all this stuff. But every single mini disc player that I've bought has a problem. By the way, ran out of creamer. Didn't time out the order correctly, and the creamer has not arrived. So I'm drinking black coffee. Now, you may be saying, Record-ology, isn't it like 5 o'clock on the East Coast right now? It is. But the problem, and that I shouldn't be drinking coffee because I have anxiety issues. I am, you know what I mean? I don't need caffeine in my system at this late in the day. So I'm drinking a product called Caffex, which is what we call nerd coffee around here. Because it's caffeine free, it's not even real coffee. It's like chicory, beetroot, and all this stuff. And it looks and it tastes kind of like coffee. And so that's been my go-to. But it's black right now. I don't know if you can see that in the cup there without me dumping it. It looks like coffee, but there's no creamer whatsoever. And I also don't like sweet coffee. I don't put sugar in my coffee. I like a latte, but a latte is like, drinking thick Kool-Aid. It's just not a smart idea. That being said, don't think that I'm holier than thou on sugar, because that's my weakness. I love sugar. Anyway, all that to say this, the record collecting got out of hand, and I'm to the point now where I just physically don't have space. I've got storage. I've got, I don't want to not be able to get to my music. It was a while before I even organized it. I just had I remember back when I had one crate and it was like 2/3 full. That was my collection. Back then, I didn't have any inner or outer sleeves. I didn't have any, they weren't categorized. They were just in there. But when you have 50 records, it's like, well, and then it grew and it grew and it grew. Also, I learned fairly early on that what I really liked were LPs. I liked 12-inch LPs, 33s, more than I like 78s. So, and by the way, all that equipment I mentioned, that's just what's hooked up right in here. I may or may not have a shelving system dedicated to turntables, which may or may not contain a lot of turntables for the show. That may or may not be holding the entire collection, and maybe I need 2 or 3 more of those shelves. So I've gotten to the point now where if I wasn't a hoarder before, it would be hard not to say that I am now. So everybody that I'm related to and everybody, all my friends, have a record player if they want one. And at this point, probably have 2. So anyway, so yeah, it's too much record players. It's a happy problem though. I mean, it's hard. You know what I've noticed though is it's starting to get harder to get as excited about new record players because you see a lot of variants of the same design. And I've told you guys before multiple times, and I've demonstrated on the show that the suitcase designs are different. There are slight differences. They're made at different factories. Turntables as well, the all-in-ones. Crosley isn't secretly making anything. Crosley doesn't make anything, and neither does Victrola. What they are doing is designing some products and working with third-party manufacturers to make those. But it's starting to get harder to get excited. It's harder to find something that really gets me excited in terms of turntables. Now, the new to me Fisher-Price that we were just viewed was new and interesting and exciting. I think that comes through on the show because it was something I genuinely hadn't seen. It was all new. I couldn't even figure out how to drop the tone arm. And I forgot to put in a clip I filmed on my phone after I was packing up where I showed this other ingenious thing that holds the tone arm in place and the lid is closed. So it is getting a little bit harder. I got to keep it interesting, though. I got to keep it interesting because if I'm not interested in it, it's going to sound like I'm not interested. And nobody wants to watch a video of something and the guy or gal doing it isn't into it. So try to keep it interesting. I got to keep, but how many record players are there out there? There's hundreds and hundreds, and we've reviewed hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them. But it's getting a little trickier to find something unique. And I want to show stuff that's unique. We've reviewed on this channel many record players that were the first reviews. First, in fact, that mid-century Victrola, they wanted us to send it back, which we don't typically do. I've done it once. I went against my better judgment and did it once. And sure enough, I broke the turntable. So, and that's why I don't do it. Because if I break it, which is entirely possible, if I do something stupid, I don't want, to end up having to get charged for something. So either we just buy it or we get product samples. I don't want to have loaner units. And some companies are going to loaner units. Audio Technica's, according to their rep, is only doing loaner units now. So, which is kind of a bummer because they've got some cool stuff that I'd like to review. So, but the stuff that's interesting to me right now is a couple $100. So it's like, what I mean? You can't just drop $200 all the time. It's expensive. I really, really appreciate you guys supporting the channel, watching the ads, because that's how we're able to do that stuff and put it back into the channel. Let's see. So anyway, all of that to say, I'm trying not to bulk up on stuff. I've been very, very blessed. I'm trying to bless others in one way or another. And I just don't need anything. I don't need anything. I'm not for want. And I know there's a lot of people out there that are for want. And those are the kind of people that I would rather see, get a turntable than me at this point. At the same time, I'm doing a channel about it, a show about it, and I'm trying to keep it interesting. So that's why we've ended up with so many of them. All right, let's see here what we got. My recent pickups. Oh, wait. Yeah, my recent pickups from the thrift store. Oh, yeah, we did that one. Sorry if I'm missing it. If I miss a comment or it takes me a while, I apologize. When I was looking for a record player, I was looking at... Oh, yeah, we did that one. Hello, my friend. Welcome in. Welcome, welcome. Doing good. How are you? I was going to send you an email right now. I found you live. Hey, there you go. They received the giveaway. Thank you very much. Oh, you're very welcome. Boy, that took a while to get there. I'm so glad. I'm so glad it made it there. Thank you for your support. I really, really appreciate it. Doing the giveaways is so much fun, and we've got more coming up. In fact, there is a company that we've reviewed some products on that contacted me the other day and said they just want to send some product as giveaways. So we're going to be giving away some new products soon. And it's going to tie into something we're reviewing probably this week. Also, I did snag a turntable on Amazon Prime Day. It was one of the ones that we put on our Amazon Prime show. And when I was saying these are some deals. So be on the lookout for that. Even though the U.S. mail wasn't able to deliver it and I had to drive 15 miles to get it, it's okay. It was still good. I probably spent back the money I saved with the discount on Prime Day in gas trying to pick the stupid thing up. But it has been obtained, and I hope it makes an interesting show. Why didn't they toss it out? I don't know why my uncle got suckered. I'm not sure I follow you there, old radios. Promise you they want to give out. Well, I'm glad for that. I'm really glad for that, my friend. I watch you on TV because it's better to watch YouTube on TV. I do that too. I like to do that too. I hope you have a small TV because the thought of my giant head on somebody's TV is horrifying. In that case, let me scoot back here. Small. Your videos are a huge help. I was going to say I'm hungry. Oh, well, that's really, really cool, my friend. Thank you so much. Any new Glenn Miller pickup, says Marcus. No. I'm trying to think. Have I got any Glenn Miller new stuff? No, I did. Yes. Let me grab it. Hold on. Boopy. Okay, this is, I think this is maybe 3 weeks ago. This was from a thrift store, and it's kind of interesting. So this is Glenn Miller World War II broadcast. This is a laser light digital. Now, if you remember the 90s, there were two companies that churned, there's more than two, but there's two main companies that churned out impulse buy CD collections, and they were like they weren't knockoffs. How should I say it? They were either like alternate versions or not unlicensed. They didn't do unlicensed stuff because it was a legit operation. They were known for lesser quality releases, I think is what I'm trying to say. But Laser Light and Madison were the two, and they did video. I think they did. Did Laser Light do video? They might have only done audio, but I think Madison did audio and video. Anyway, but in the world of big band music and even some Patsy Cline music, some good Patsy Cline music has been released on Laserlight. But for Glenn Miller and big band music, there's a lot of great stuff. A lot of great stuff, and the quality is up there. So this is a 2001 release of Glenn Miller World War II broadcast. So if you're a Glenn Miller fan, you know that Glenn led an army band after he disbanded his civilian band in 1942, went into the army, and eventually was overseas playing music for the troops. But what a lot of people don't know is that one of the projects that Glenn Miller was involved with before his plane went missing, which was, his demise, unfortunately, in like October, November of 1944, before he passed away in December of 1944. He was involved with working on an ABSI, which was a military. There's a lot behind it. ABSIE was sort of this group that were doing these things. Propaganda program called Music for the Wehrmacht, was basically music for the army. And they were German language propaganda broadcasts. Now, unlike some of the propaganda like the Lord Haha stuff, which was very derogatory and racist and awful and manipulative, the propaganda that he was involved with was not like that. It was very positive. It was encouraging, that after the war we'll all come together, that, the German soldier will be able to listen to whatever kind of music they want to, and, we'll live together in a harmonious way. It was a different message. And it was about talking about the virtues of what we were fighting for from our perspective. It was still propaganda, to be sure, but it was positive and it was true propaganda. Anyway, so these broadcasts are some of those. So there are the Army songs led with the full orchestra, string section, but also the German language intros and stuff, which is really, really cool. So I picked this up for like $1. I also got a couple Bing Crosby Army broadcast discs as well, which I've really been fascinated with. So this is cool because it comes with a script, so you can follow along in English as to what they are saying. If that intrigues you and you're interested, I would recommend, rather than looking for this CD, I would look for an album called Glenn Miller, The Lost Recordings, which is they're not lost. They were never lost. That's a marketing thing. But that set is a 2-disc set that happens to be incredibly and impeccably remastered. This is a bit goofy and raw sounding. It's not as well remastered by a long shot. So if you want to hear that stuff, it's really cool. Glenn Miller, Lost Recordings, check it out. That's my latest Glenn Miller find. I did get 2 records this weekend. I'm going to show them in a minute. One of those is not Glenn Miller. Thoughts on the Fluence RT82 turntable? I want to upgrade my Audio-Technica LP60, and I always get recommended Fluence. So I love Fluence's stuff. My favorite speakers that I've ever reviewed, and the ones that I've chosen to keep for my own personal use, are my Fluence AI41s. And I've got a sub output to a little cheap subwoofer. But don't hate on the LP60. I still got my LP Go right here. It's just so handy because it's so tiny. But I get what you're saying. So I've reviewed the RT80, which is the entry-level unit, and the RT85, which is their high-end unit. And the similarity between them is amazing. It's very similar to U-Turn. U-Turn, and I had the U-Turn Orbit out until about a week and a half ago. I put the Pioneer back over here. But very similar to how they do it, where their bottom line and high end are very, very close. The only difference, I think, on the 80 versus the 85, it's got a different motor pulley, and it's got a steel or aluminum platter instead of an acrylic one. But it's pretty close. I'm sure the cartridge is better in the 85s. I know it is, but they're all good turntables, so you'd be good with any of them. I haven't touched the 81 through 84, but I'm sure they're good. And even though they don't like talking about it, Fluence is owned by a company called Circus World Direct, and is it Circus World Direct? Circus World Direct. I think it's Circus World CWD, and they also make Electrohome products. So they sell Electrohome, which is a kind of like the Crosley of Canada, and they were well known in the 50s and 60s. Televisions and radios, all this kind of stuff. In fact, they were some of the first to market with some of the television stuff in the Canadian market. It's really interesting. And they don't like talking about that. They have to keep those brands very, very separate. They don't want, and I'm sure they're not even made in the same factory. They're completely different, lines. There's some good Fluence stuff, or there's really good Fluence stuff, and there's some good Electrohome stuff. You wouldn't know they were any way connected unless, somebody like me told you. But if you like the automatic features of your LP Go, your LP60, realize the Fluences are all fully manual. I don't think they even have an auto stop. So it's a different thing. You're more involved. It's not like hit play and forget about it. It's, set the tone arm, return it when it's done. Everything is manual. And that's what it's always curious to me when people say, well, what do you like? What's better, an LP60 or an LP120? Well, they're a complete opposite. That one's a full manual, one's a full automatic. So it's kind of hard to compare them. I would say this. I would actually, if you like the automatic functionality, I would consider an Audio-Technica LP3. Why they have 360, 120, I don't have any idea what the naming convention's about. But the LP3 is like a hybrid between the LP60 and the LP120 because it's fully automatic. So it's got start, stop, and cue. And that means you can use it as a manual turntable or an automatic, just like the LP60. And so the auto return, all this stuff, it's got a fantastic built-in preamp that's actually compatible with moving coil cartridges too. There's an MC switch on the back. So you can actually run a moving coil cartridge from this thing, which is, I've never seen anybody else having a built-in moving coil cartridge. It also has an MC or MM for moving magnet position, or you can bypass it and go into an external preamp. But what's cool about the LP3 is from a price standpoint, it's on par with those Fluences, fully automatic. It's a good, robust unit, and it allows you to replace the head shell and the cartridge. It's all standard half-inch mount, so you can upgrade the cartridge, and you can adjust the counterbalance and set the anti-skate. It's just a fantastic turntable. I wish I still had mine in a lot of ways. The only gripe I had about it is setting the speed is a bit annoying if you need to change it. It doesn't have a pitch slider. If it had a pitch slider, that would be the best turntable of all time to me. It's like the LP60. They don't have a pitch, easy speed adjustment either. You got to get underneath with a screwdriver. Same thing with the LP3. Once it's dialed in, you're fine. It should be dialed in from the factory. But anyway, so yeah, LP3, but I would say yes, all of the Fluence stuff is good. I think the Fluences are the ones that come with the gloves. You take it apart. It really feels like something. They should do a commercial with like classical music and, Jeeves putting on his gloves and setting up a turntable should be the art of the, elite and all this. I get this whole, it's kind of funny. I like it. It's fun. It's an experience, It's cool because you invest a lot of money in a turntable, and it kind of gives you an experience, setting it up as part of the experience. I like it. Old Radio says, I was organizing my 78s, and I decided to put, hey, anybody got any Patsy Cline 78s or 45? If anybody has any Patsy Cline 78s or 45s, specifically on the Coral label, and you feel compelled to gift those, I'm just messing with you. But I've always been on the lookout. My dream, my sort of my grail record would be a Patsy Cline 78 on Coral. Those are hard to find. I do have her first record. I don't want to take it off the wall, but it's the 45 edition on Coral. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Old Radio says, I was organizing my 78s, and I decided to put certain artists together and got an album for my Glenn Miller disc. That's really cool. I have an album of Glenn Miller stuff as well. I actually bought it intact. So I was at a thrift store back in Denver before we moved out here to Florida. And we went, it was one of those antique malls. and I love antique malls. And we were going through there, and it was on the weekend, and some of the vendors were there working on their booth. And this lady was sitting there with an album full of Glenn Miller records. And I'm like, "Are you selling those?" And she's like, "Yeah." "What's the price?" Keeping in mind that those Glenn Miller records fetch anywhere from 15 to hundreds each. She's like, probably 15 for the album. I'm like, okay, I'll take it right now. And yeah, they were in good condition. I brought it home, and like an idiot, I tried to stick these records in the spin clean. Don't wash your 78s on a spin clean. They're too thick. And I cracked one of them. Oh, it was painful. And it's not the first Glenn Miller record I broke. It's so awful. Anyway, but that's cool. That's really, really cool. A family member gave me a mini disc player, and its only problem is that it doesn't come with a battery. Since it has a bespoke battery, it's very. Let me guess. Is it one of these stupid gum stick batteries? Isn't that annoying? And then these go bad. In fact, I just bought this one to try revive one of my Sharp mini disc portables, and it didn't really work. Yeah, these are. Why? Let me just put a double A. Why? It's so annoying. It's so annoying. Why does it have to be this color? I feel you on that one. That's not fun. I just solder an 18650 battery with wire to the wow, that's dedication. Very impressive. We have it in Hungary as well since the 70s. Is called a Biere coffee. Oh, interesting. I put my Peggy Lee record. I didn't know you collected Peggy Lee. That's cool. That was my last year project. My New Year's record. My New Year's Eve, or what is it? The New Year's resolution, record resolution. He was collecting. I was able to collect some Peggy Lee, which was fun. I got a pretty good collection. It's about this much if you're looking at the side of it in a crate. So maybe 30 records, something like that. Bing Crosby has an album. Stan Kenton has an album. Getting them all together. That's good. So you've got them all organized. That's really, really cool. When it comes to 78s, I own all of my 78s fit down here at the bottom of my rack on the bottom where you're supposed to put your LPs. All my 78s are in there except for a few in my I have a 10-inch record case, and I've got some albums with 70. A couple, I see 3 or 4 albums over here. I don't have a ton of 78s. When I imparted the my wind-up phonograph back in Colorado before we moved to somebody, I threw in a bunch of records. Anything that I didn't either wasn't like super historically significant, because like I kept like the one-sided records. I kept, the ones that were brown, something that was interesting because I thought it would make an interesting show or video at some point. But the stuff that I didn't want to listen to, the stuff that I just was never going to listen to, that went with the machine, which is good because it gave them some to start their collection. So everything I have, even though it's not a big collection by any means, is all stuff I really like. So a lot of Bing Crosby, a lot of Glenn Miller, a lot of big band, and I love that. A lot of vocal stuff. I've got some K-Star on 78. No Patsy Cline yet. Somebody in here, one of these lives, like, oh yeah, I got one. I'll send it to you, and it never showed up. Which they may have second thoughts. I don't blame them for not sending it, but that's sort of the one I've been looking for. I'd probably put it on the wall like I did with the 45, and then with this. Let me scoot this camera over here. Right there is Patsy Cline's first LP, 1957, self-titled. I'd probably frame it like that. I might listen to it once, transfer it perhaps. Good evening, my friend from Greece. That's awesome. Welcome in, my friend. Older Technics SL2000 is the best. I'm not familiar with the SL2000. I bet it is good though. Have any Glenn Miller you have doubles of you're wanting to get rid of? Not really, because I've gone through most of my doubles and given them to a friend of mine who also likes Glenn Miller. And sort of he's done the same, so we've kind of done that. But, maybe we'll do, if I could find some doubles, I would do it as a giveaway. But I don't know how many people would be interested because it's kind of like an offshoot. I think that's my theory as to why our growth on this channel hasn't been as fast as some of the other channels out there. Because I feel like we provide good content. I feel like we, do way more giveaways. Like, what other YouTube channels giving away record players? I can't think of any. We love doing that stuff. We try to keep it personal. We try to keep it engaging. We put a lot of content out, 2-3 videos a week, shorts, posts. But our growth is consistent, thank God. But it's not as rapid as some others. And my theory is because I like Glenn Miller music and Patsy Cline music, I'm not a rock and roll head as much. I do like the Beatles. I've been getting into them more over the last year. You guys are sort of storyline of me pursuing all the Beatles stuff last year. But I think the musical tastes that I have maybe slow down the growth of the channel. I'm not 100% sure. Well, hold on a second, you guys. All right, I'm back. Sorry about that. All righty. I got the Chipmunks doing the Beatle covers recently. That's funny. That's really cool. Hey, Record-ology, do you actually like the Jamaican 45s? Can you please play Slurp by Stranger on your RCA changer? So, yes, I do like them. I think they're cool and they're really unique. And I've got them right down here. Same thing with 45s, you guys. I don't have a lot of 45s. I've got 2 shelves of 45s and quite a few boxes. I do have a lot of boxes and sets of 45. Loose 45s, I don't have so much. But those 2 are really cool. Thank you for sending them. Could you play it on your RCA changer? We'll have to maybe do that one of these days. We'll see. You never know what I'm going to do. I always like to come up with random stuff. I'll get this wild hair. I'll be like taking a shower. I'll be working, or I'll be doing, wake up in the morning and be like, man, I should play this on that. It's just fun. Aditya says, where are you from? I am from Denver, Colorado, born and raised. However, living in Florida for the last couple of years. My wife and I moved down here once our kids grew up and out, started their own families. We decided to do this. It's a plan we've had for years. So at the moment, maybe not forever. Very thankful. The Lord has blessed us with the beautiful state of Florida, where it's been raining very hard for the last few hours. My old headphones broke as I used it a lot. Very aerodynamic. Interesting. I think I've heard of those. Oh, that's cool. I love good headphones. My headphones are not in here. Otherwise, I'd show them to you. Yeah, I love using headphones. Absolutely. Probably capture the CD sound. What are your thoughts on the headphones? I haven't listened to those. I've heard the brand is amazing, though. So I think that those are probably fantastic. I love over-the-ear headphones. Those are my favorite. But I do use earbuds as well. These are some Grados. These are their first earbuds, GW100s. In this case, this is a cool case, but it's too big to carry in your pocket. It does have wireless charging, though, which is cool. So you can stick it on a wireless charging pad. But I think these are going out because, in terms of these ones, because I've got a red light on one, and I can't get sound out of it right now. So I haven't had time to investigate why that is. But I also like, what is this brand? We've reviewed these on the show. Sound Peats, not Beats, but Sound Peats. These are their cheapest entry-level ones, and they're all magnetic closure cases, USB-C charging and stuff. Where's that? There it is. And they make a full line from like $30 up to like $60, and they're so good. They sound so fantastic. But you know what? If you've been here for a long time, I don't know if you remember this, but a long time ago, I reviewed Walmart earbuds. They did Bluetooth wireless earbuds. Walmart did. And they were good. That was what was amazing, is they were really good. They still work. The fancy Grados, not working right now, but the Walmart special. I remember my son making fun of it because, like, I remember when I got those, he had the real AirPods. And he's like, Dad, those are huge. What are those? Because they are a little bit bigger than the AirPods. But they work. Sound Peats are impeccable. I've got these laying around all over. I'm trying not to review headphones as much because people don't like watching those videos. I'm really trying to hone in on the turntables because plain and simple, way more than anything else. If you look at the view count on our videos, people like record player videos, period. They like how-to videos, lists, and they like record player review shows. But if I dip into CD players, sometimes they do okay. Headphones, now if I were to review a microphone or something like that, it would be rough. Cassettes can be okay-ish. Radios, I'm really pushing it on radios. So it just depends. I finally got my first Berliner record. That's awesome. What new records, tapes, CDs have you recently managed to scoop? That's a good question. So I'm going to do my little mini haul in a minute. I got 2 records yesterday. That CD was one that I got recently. What else did I get recently? I went either last weekend or the weekend before. I did pop into a record shop and I got a couple of things. What I'm on the lookout for right now is Loretta Lynn. And I've kind of been on this offshoot. I love country music as well. And I really try to suppress doing much country on this channel because I don't know if that would go over well with my audience. I don't know if they would like to, have that as much. I'm okay. I have one. Thank you. But I do I also listen to hip hop. This morning, I've been really fixated on that Apache song by Sugar Hill Gang. It's amazing. And obviously Rapper's Delight and stuff. But I've been putting together this playlist on Apple Music of 80s hip hop. And I like Christian hip hop too. The song Been About It by Andy Mineo is absolutely incredible. If you like hip hop, if you like rap music and you want to see something that's paying homage to various hip hop artists, check out the video for Been About It by Andy Mineo. It's incredible. But then I listen to country. I'll be listening to, rap in the morning and country at night. So I picked up a Loretta Lynn country record this week. And the way I was able to do it is I got a notification on Mercari, which is an app where you can buy stuff, that I had a $10 credit that was going to expire if I didn't use it or lose it. And so I'm like, really? So I went out looking. I found this Loretta Lynn record for $7 and $3 shipping. And so I got a free record. That was really cool. And what did I get though at the record shop the weekend before last? Oh, it was maybe 3 weeks ago. I got some Ella Fitzgerald. I've been trying to find more Ella Fitzgerald. I found like maybe 3 Ella Fitzgerald records. I did. In fact, I think on the last live I showed that. So that's pretty much it besides Loretta Lynn until I got this mini haul that I'm going to show here in a minute. Speaking of big band music, did you dig Hooked on Swing back in the day? Yeah, I've got a couple of those. I went through a phase where I was listening to that stuff. I just loved that, boom, boom. It was good. It was really, really cool. Among tape, CDs, and records, digital music, which one do you prefer? That's a good question. That's a really good question. When I first, so I had a lot of CDs. As a kid, I had, mostly hand-me-down records, kids' records, things I was given. I don't think I ever bought a record as a kid. When I got, a little bit older, I did get a few tapes. I had like New Kids on the Block, Michael Jackson, stuff like that. The Cocktail soundtrack that everybody had because it had Kokomo on it by the Beach Boys. And, but as I became a teenager and Weird Al, I started really coming into my own on music. So CD was the format that I really started purchasing my own music on and collecting my own music. And so I collected a lot of CDs, not a ridiculous amount. I've like, I don't know, maybe 300 CDs. You know what I mean? Like not a ridiculous collection, but they're all very meaningful ones. Again, it's not a lot of bulk in there. I got a lot more than that were either kids stuff that, we've got put in storage and stuff, but active CDs I listen to and enjoy, probably 300 CDs. So I've got a very strong connection to that. But then when the late 90s and early 2000s came around, I got caught up into this craze of digitizing CDs and making MP3s out of them. So I wanted to rip all my CDs, and I wanted to compress how much space they were taking up. There were such burdenous things to have. So I took all my jewel cases and I threw them away. And at work, I got like 1,000 of those Microsoft slip sheet things that you'd put in a binder, where I just kept the disc and the liner notes and threw away all my jewel cases, most of them. Man, I regret doing that. I just carried around these books of slipcase loaded CDs and ripped everything and really put the CDs into storage. And so I had little MP3 players and stuff, and that's kind of how I was consuming music for a long time. CDs were just a mechanism to load, digitize an album if I was interested in it. And I always listened to a lot of old time radio. I listened to a lot of radio. And in the early 2000s, and eventually migrating to streaming and stuff over the last several years. Right about that time, I'm like, wait a minute, we've lost the art of liner notes. Buying a CD, pulling out the booklet or a record and pulling out the thing, and reading it and having something physical and owning it and not having to rely on something. And so I kind of went full circle back. And then I added a few things I never even had. So some stuff was totally non-nostalgic. Like I never had turntables. When I had records as a kid, they were on a toy Fisher-Price record player. And when I had tapes, they were on a Walkman or a hand-me-down boombox or something. Nothing fancy whatsoever. But once I got my first real stereo system, was that Sony, I think it's a CFD 55, boombox with a CD player, cassette. That was kind of that marked the beginning for me of, really getting into music on my own. But things like 8-track, just got into it because of you guys and, learning about it. Reel-to-reel, same thing. We had a reel-to-reel with some tapes that I never touched, that sat in our house for decades growing up. And wouldn't you know it, when I went over to my mom and dad's house, I said, okay, could I, that reel-to-reel, this show that I'm doing, it'd be really cool to review that. Oh, your dad took it donated it like last weekend. I was like, it's been in our family for generations. That's Murphy's Law for you. But yeah, all that stuff. And mini disc. I never had mini disc. That was like ultra rich, expensive. I never could imagine having something like that. So at this moment, I'd say the two that I enjoy the most are CDs still. I listen to CDs every day, pretty much. Last night I was listening to CDs. And vinyl. I really like vinyl records. It's something that I have a small association with as a kid, but mostly it's something that I've discovered. You know what I mean? If you would ask me 15 years ago, I'd have been like, no, I probably don't want to do that. To me, I was all about, I want digitized music. I want everything digitized. How many songs can I fit on this tiny pocket-sized player? And I like the idea of, especially collecting old-time radio shows and things, and just fitting as much content on the tiniest portable device and just listening with earbuds. I didn't want speakers, didn't need any of that. And it's just weird how it's changed. And maybe it'll go back to that for me. I don't know. You know what I mean? I'm not committing to any of this. But that was kind of my journey. And there you go, in a nutshell. A very big nutshell. Brian Eno Apollo on double vinyl. That sounds neat. Really cool. Apollo missions. Wow. I've got some NASA records. I need to do more about that. Still angry that Universal was allowed to purchase and break up EMI in 2013. I'm more mad that Universal allowed the fire that destroyed almost all the recording masters in the history of recorded music. But it was one person's. I don't know if it's. I don't want to go into a fault finding segment here, but the person that accidentally set the fire, you could blame that person. But then it's like, how should it be that easy? Should one person be able to do anything that could cause something that catastrophic? All the RCA stuff, all the Sony stuff is in a vault in Iron Mountain, Pennsylvania right now, an old iron mine. A lot of the movies are out there. Plus, there's that old underground facility in Kansas I think it should have been there rather than in Southern California. It was like on the back side of the Back to the Future set. That's where all those masters were stored. I can't believe we've already gone 50 minutes, you guys. My coffee's getting cold. Labels are becoming a thing of the past because bands can now. I know, exactly, right? A lot of independent stuff out there. Yeah, good points. Good points you guys bring up. Bring that fully automatic is the best way to play records, in my opinion. I really like fully automatic. I do. I really, really like fully automatic. Atlantic Sounds in Daytona Beach has a massive 78 stockpile. I gotta check that out. Have I been up there? I mean, I've been up there many times, but have I been up there to that store? I don't know. Usually when I go to the coast, I'm going to Beachside Retro in Cocoa Beach. I'll have to check that out. Disappointed but not surprised. I'm going to throw away blah, 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 blah. Like the new 45 swirl adapters. Larry, thank you for your support as always. Glad they got there safely. Yeah, those ones are fun, and we're running out of that PLA. So order yours now, because we didn't get a full reel of that. So instead of the big like 10-inch reel with a lot of it, it's like one of the miniature reels. So it's going quick. I printed off and finished a small stockpile of the new and the old style. If you guys don't have the new, I should have them in here. Why don't I have them in here? If you haven't bought the new 45 adapter style yet, I don't have one in here. That's bad business. What am I doing? I would recommend getting one because it's a totally new design. They're really cool. Yeah. Gary says, I was looking at the Patsy Cline Story 3 CD set the other day. Picked it up. A lot of great songs on it. Patsy Cline Story 3 CD set. I'm going to look this up. Patsy Cline Story 3 CD set. Because I know the Patsy Cline Collection 4 CD set, and I know the Patsy Cline Story 1 CD. Patsy Cline Story 3 CD set. Oh, thank you very much. Anyway, is it the Laserlight digital set? That's a Patsy Cline collection, I think. Interesting. Well, I'm glad you like it. Yeah, it's such good stuff. I mean, it's a rabbit hole. I really, really enjoy her music so much. Absolutely. And I've tried listening. I'm like, well, if I like Patsy Cline, I probably like a lot of these other, female country music singers. And most of them I just can't. You know what I mean? Like Patsy Montana is okay. A couple things I can listen to, but just can't really get into it that much. Loretta Lynn, I've really started to like some of her music after I read her book about her friendship with Patsy Cline. So I do like her stuff. I like a greatest hits fan level at this point. Skeeter Davis, okay. Tammy Wynette, Wanda Jackson, can't do it. That sound, I can't do that. And then the one that you always see, what is it? She was famous. She was like the first female. Well, Patsy Montana would be the first country female star, but this person was sort of secondary. Had a guitar. What is it? Honky Tonk Angels. Who is this? That's gonna drive me nuts. You guys are probably mad typing it in there. Honky Tonk. No, God made. What is it? God didn't. I'm making this up. I'm messing this up so bad. God didn't. It wasn't God who made Honky Tonk Angels. Kitty Wells. Okay. Sorry about that. I had to figure it out. Can't do it. I can't. The music is just, I just don't like it. And if once you listen to Patsy Cline, you realize why she probably was so successful, because she was very different than all of that. She could do much more, I would say, stylistically than others could. All right. I am so backed up on comments. So what I'm going to do is this. We're going to fly through comments. Then I'm going to show you my haul. Okay? And I really appreciate you being there and commenting. And we're having fun now. Where am I? Where am I? Where am I? Okay, 45 adapters, a new style. The boss brought me one. Check that out. This is the swirl color. So yeah, we're running low on this color. This style will be around. We're going to do the same as we do with style 1. So it'll be always available in our signature orange, and then it'll also be available in the alternating color. So this is style 2. Same price as the original, but it's a solid design. It's actually inside it's a waffle pattern, but it's solid on all sides. And it prints right to the bed directly and doesn't require a raft, and there's no rough edges. So it comes off the printer, ready to rock and roll. So we designed this in-house, and it's super, super cool. I like that a lot. So if you're interested in the new style in the swirl color, which is this color, and everyone's a little different because the filament has, it alternates through color. So you can take two, look at them side by side, and there will be differences. But yeah, that's the alternate color. We got a lot of cool stuff coming in the adapter world. We also sell our Seaberg adapters, the big yellow ones. Links in the description below. Thank you for your support. I was looking at that. What do you get when you combine 45 with 33? Well, that'd be 78. Now, if you can tell me why Audio-Technica has an LP60, an LP120, and an LP3, that would be amazing. Kyle, welcome in. By the way, Larry, thank you for modding. Appreciate that. You'll notice that Larry's not only a moderator sporting the wrench, but he also has the little unique R symbol because he is a member of our membership group. And you can join too, only 99 cents a month. And you get exclusive content. And sometimes we'll post videos early, only to members. Sometimes we'll post behind the scenes stuff. But mostly we put your name in the videos with a huge, massive thank you for all of your support. Old radios as price as the MacBook Air. A new MacBook with an audio jack? That is amazing. No, Kyle, don't be sorry. I'm just glad you're here. Daz, welcome in. It would be nice to see how to dink a 7-inch for jukebox. Ah, that's interesting. Didn't jukebox? What's his name? Techmoan do that? I think he tried doing that. 1899 is your oldest record. Interesting. I've got one probably 1906 or 7, I think is my oldest. Conway Twitty, says Ralph. More Conway Twitty. Well, you know the song that he did with Loretta Lynn. He did a lot of songs. They did some albums together, but they had a hit together. Hip hop is the best, says Music Junkie. I love hip hop. Music Junkie, Christian hip hop. Do you like Grits or NF? Yeah, I like both of them. My son's a huge NF fan. We've been to a couple NF concerts. He puts on a very good show. NF is amazing. When I Grow Up by NF is my favorite NF song. Grits was great. Oh man, I love Grits. They're really cool. If you like Loretta Lynn, you need to listen to Tammy Wynette. I need to listen to more, Gary, but so far I'm kind of on the fence. Traditional hip hop leans toward some 5% nation though. I love the traditional. I love the non-traditional. I like music. You know what I mean? I like all music. Aliens transmitted send more Chuck Berry after finding the Voyager probe. We could all use more Chuck Berry. I saw Chuck Berry live. So the radio station that used to play, the radio station in Denver that used to play classics like 50s and 60s music, did these cool concerts. It was Cool 105 was a radio station. Now I think they just play 70s and 80s, but they used to play 50s and 60s. And they used to do the Cool concert. And it sort of peaked about 1993, 94 maybe, right around there. And I went to the ultimate one. And I remember I had to go to the King Supers, which is the Kroger stores there, at like 6 a.m. to try and get the ticket because they went on sale at a certain time. I waited in a little bit of a line for it. And my plan was to take my dad. And still to this day, we have a great memory of going together. Mile High Stadium, the old Mile High Stadium. We were like 16th row. We saw Chuck Berry, The Temptations, what was left of the Mamas and the Papas. What's the Secret Agent Man guy, the guitar, all this stuff, all this incredible music of the 50s and 60s. And yeah, Chuck Berry in person was crazy, man. It was crazy. It was so awesome. Apparently, Chuck Berry took his money in cash and put it in his cowboy boot before the show. I've been recording AI music to my 1959 Wollensack tape recorder. You're not the only person I know that's been doing that lately. I have a friend that's been doing a lot of AI music. I'm not a huge fan of it yet. Oh, that coffee's just cold now. Oh, not good. That's not good when it's cold. Ooh, full body shiver. But it's intriguing. You can just punch in something and it makes it. It's a weird thing. I like AI pictures, and I think that's fun to like create an image. And so maybe I'll get used to music too. I remember in 1998 when swing was cool for a hot minute. Yes, I do, man. I remember the swing revival. What was great for big band fans because you could get stuff that otherwise probably wouldn't have been published and released. There was so much music available. They were trying to sell everything. Glenn Miller, Tommy Dorsey, Benny Goodman, Duke Ellington, you name it. It was all available with all this cool packaging, bright colors and things. And it was a fun time, man. It was a hot minute. It was, I think it was like a year, but it was a fun year. Now, I was a fan before and after, long time after that as well. But yes, I do remember that. Kyle likes rock. He's into AC/DC, Electric Light Orchestra, Pink Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon. Sync it up with your Wizard of Oz and watch the music unfold before your eyes. Keith says, thank you for the view of the LP Go. Bought the turntable. It's great. I'm glad you like it. I've got mine to the right-hand side of me right now. It's so compact, and it just does a great job. It's consistently good. It's a great little deal. And if you saw the review we did, the video before last of the preamp, I do a side-by-side comparison of a higher-end preamp and the built-in preamp on the LP Go, which is the same as the LP60. And it's very comparable. There's a little difference of the new one for sure, but it was if you hadn't heard them side by side, you probably wouldn't be able to tell the difference. That's a great little turntable. When people say like, I got to upgrade from that thing, and I'm like, well, the cartridge is good cartridge. It's affordable to maintain. You get high-end cartridges like this guy back here, my Great Oak Gold Prestige. I'm not looking forward to the day that stylus needs replacing because that's going to be an expensive stylus. But the LP or the Audio-Technica 3600 cart, it's like $20 or $15 online. It's like cheap. So the cost of ownership is way more affordable for a conical LP60 than anything. And that's a great turntable. So congratulations. Ripped songs from Napster. Remember the Napster days? What do you think records pressed at what do you think of records pressed at GZ Vinyl? I am not aware of GZ Vinyl. Tell me more. Music Junkie says, I always want the physical media route except when I listen to the radio. GZ is very inconsistent. Says Music Junkie also depends on the plant. Not a big fan of the Memphis plant. Moms throw away comic books and baseball cards. That's another hobby of mine is baseball cards. I have a few comic books. There's Zorro. This is a comic book day special. I actually purchased the Three Stooges. I purchased this Three Stooges comic book, and the this company, American Mythology, is making new Three Stooges comics. And this is another rabbit hole. Okay, see, it's your fault. I'm going over. By the way, I promised my wife would only go an hour, but I'm having too much fun. So this is a picture of one of the pages. Anyway, you maybe say, who are these guys? It's Larry, Moe, and Curly. But the actors have a YouTube show. and I love watching it. So if you look at Curly's grandson, you'll get into this world, and they interview the surviving actors. This guy right here, Brad Server, is Curly's grandson, and this guy right here makes a fantastic Mo. They're all really, I know these guys. They're really good people. They're fantastic actors. They're out in LA, and this comic book was special because Andy, who's this guy up here playing Curly, is a painter among other things, and he painted different versions of this comic book cover. There's a few of the other versions up there, and his artwork, you can see it there as well, appeared on. They made like 5 different versions of this cover, and one version had the picture of them all together. I also have this picture autographed by them as well. So anyway, when I bought this, they also sent me other comics as well. So I got Zorro, which is a free comic book day one. I got this. I think that's it. But yeah, 3 comics for the price of 1. Not a bad deal. I like comics. I think they're fun. I was never like super into them though as a kid. I never, got like hyper into comics. I did, I remember getting when the Superman one with the white bag came out. I remember getting that. I probably have 15 comic books to my name, 20 maybe. So I do like them, but I'm not like super into it. Baseball cards, on the other hand, a couple of years ago, I started getting back into those. So I do buy baseball cards. I'm not like an investor kind of baseball card fan. I'm just like for the fun of it. So I don't have to buy expensive things. And it's great because I can collect stuff that's affordable, but it does take up space. Yeah, exactly. 15 years ago, you were already collecting. Yeah, you gotta jump on me. Kyle says, I got bad news. The motor is going out on my Audio Technica. Dang it! I checked the belt. It's fine, but the motor wants to try to stop when I'm playing a record. I have to turn it to get it to work. Have you tried lubricating the motor? Maybe drop a few drops of oil down the motor shaft. I got my first records in 2002. Whoa. But I didn't start collecting until 2008. She still beat me. What should I do? I greased the motor with WD-40, but it didn't work. I'm catching a lot of grief for using WD-40 on my recent video, even though I said, I know this isn't what you're supposed to do. But it does work in a pinch. It does work in a pinch. I would, some 3-in-1 oil, if it didn't get any improvement though from the WD-40, which is more of a temporary solution, I don't think that maybe it's a lubrication issue. Is it still under warranty? Which one are we talking about, Kyle? I'm not 100% sure which one we're talking about. Old radios back when nobody cared about vinyl. I know, right? That was the time to get into it. Kansas Salt Mine has movie masters. Yes, they do, Larry. That's a whole city underground there. I would love to see that stuff. I would love to see that. Sewing machine oil. I've heard that's really good. Liquid bearings. How are you doing today? Doing great. Thank you, my friend, for jumping in. Brenda Lee. That's another. No, I can't do Brenda Lee. I just don't like the sound. She's okay, and actually, she was a friend of Patsy Cline. A lot of those people were friends. Maybelle Carter. Again, just can't. I can't get too into it. I don't know. Patsy Cline's voice is just different. It's like next level. It's a different level. I don't know. Maybe I'll learn to appreciate more. Tanya Tucker, Caught alive, Azzy Chen. Glad you're in here, my friend. Kitty Wells was the artist. Well, and a lot of these people not only recorded, but they played guitar. Patsy Cline never played guitar. She couldn't even read music. But she could sing really, really good. Loretta Lynn wrote her own songs, played a guitar. Yeah. HD Channel SP, welcome in. Hope to get bass for my Lenco B52 turntable. 99, baby. Are you going to cover the new Toshiba Walkie cassette player? I have no idea what you're talking about. Time to look it up. Toshiba Walkie cassette player? I appreciate everybody out there keeping their eyes and ears open for me. Doing a little investigative research. Okay, so Toshiba Walkie cassette? Toshiba Waki. Wait, what? Wait. Make sure I got that right. Toshiba Waki. I see the vintage ones. I didn't know they were making a new one. Maybe I'll get it. Oh, this looks new. I bet this is that it? I have this bad feeling that it's no, I don't know. Maybe that is a vintage one. That looked like a modern one made to look. I'll have to look into it. Thanks for the tip, though. You ready for the expanded anniversary edition of Aphex Twin Selected Ambient Works Volume 2 this fall? I have no idea. I have no idea what that is. Tell me more. I have a Patsy Cline album called Showcase. That's a great one. That's a great one, Super Dogs number 55. That was the first one that I got too. And I still have been able to find the video. I am positive that I filmed it as a haul from the old Second and Charles. We don't have those here, unfortunately. Store. They had a free bin that they don't do anymore. And I'm pretty sure I picked up in a free bin and did a haul video, but I cannot find that video. I would love to find that. And I remember grabbing it because I knew the name Patsy Cline, but I didn't know anything about it. And it was that album, which at the time I thought Showcase, well, that sounds like a compilation. It must be a greatest hits. But it's not. It's her second actual studio album. That's a great one. That's a great starting point, too. Greg, welcome in, my friend. Glad to see you here. It's a DLG202 Decca Mono. Interesting. Was slightly too young for Napster. CZ is a Czech company. Jeezy is a Czech company. Fun thing about this MacBook is that I can AI generate images or draw them. That's really interesting. I know the AI is working its way into browsers, into computers. It's just amazing. Sam Music Room, welcome in. Ralph says, I thought that Fisher-Price stereo was super cool. Thank you. It was interesting, wasn't it? I had fun with that one. It was really fun. Greg says, hi, Record-ology. You have interesting hobbies, my friend. Thank you. I appreciate you being there, Greg. I really, really do. Walkie equals Walkman type. Okay, I got to look into that. What other YouTube channels do you follow, says Jaime? I follow Techmoan. I love watching Via Westlife. Sometimes I'll watch, even though I have like different music tastes, I still like to watch the show that Channel 33 RPM does. Those are the main ones, I would say. Those are probably the main two are Techmoan and Via Westlife. They're my two favorite in this genre. I'm also a huge Adam the Woo fan. Toshiba went out years ago. If you find new stock, it's either old stock or a cheap company using the name. I don't know who owns that name now, Toshiba. That's an interesting question. I thought they were still around. They're long gone, huh? Have you been to Athens, Georgia? I have not. Toshiba AXW10C ORX Walkie Bluetooth. Okay. What is this? AX-W10C. What are these names? How do they come up with this stuff? AX. I've already forgotten it. AX. Well, short-term memory is not my strong point. AX-W10C. AX. Okay, there it is. Oh, this looks like the rewinding the masters thing. Interesting. Toshiba. It's the same. It's the same mechanism. Which people that say, "Oh, it's that terrible mechanism," don't understand that mechanism's fine. There's nothing wrong with the mechanism. It's what head they spec out. It's what motor they, not even the motor as much as the pulley. So if the flywheel is metal, then it can be fine. If it's a plastic flywheel, well, it's going to have wow and flutter. Can't tell by the pictures, but I can tell it's that mechanism. Permanent erase head. It looks like they put a stereo head in there. At least the picture has a stereo head. 53 US dollars on this site. 65 on eBay. Does Amazon have it? See a lot of used ones on eBay. Interesting. Walkie. Huh. Well, thanks for the tip. I love cassette mechanisms. I really love the We Are Rewind, and I really love the FIO CP13. Those are fantastic. Thought you might know what my record is worth. I don't. I'm not a good judge of value on records. I would say look on eBay or someplace, see what they're actually selling for, not what they're listed for. Bartamark, yep. Good friends with him. Absolutely. Vinyl Eyes, did he vanish off the face of the earth? I don't know. Like I said before, he was one that I got a little bit of advice from when I first started the channel. Nice guy, Jarrett. But he doesn't do much content anymore. He still hasn't. He built up an amazing channel fan base, but yeah. Super Dogs, which record are we talking about? I'm sorry, I've already forgotten. I am so ADD. It's not even funny. Are we talking about the Patsy Cline showcase? Hold on one second. DLG 202 Deca Mono. Oh, sorry. I thought you were talking about a turntable when you said that. Okay, showcase DL G202 Mono. Okay, does it have the the orange red cover, or does it have the white cover with the 3 segments? I could look that one up, but yeah. Parallelogram channel covers Beatles. Yeah, I've watched a lot of that when I was collecting the Beatles, Larry. That channel's relentless, man. They keep pumping it out. A lot of good info. Hey, Larry, don't worry about Greg's stuff. Just let him be. He's totally fine. It's okay if he comments more than once. SuperDog55, love your channel. Thank you so much. What should I do? I'm just asking for a friend for advice if I can save my Audio Technica. Is it under warranty, Kyle? Is it new enough to be under warranty? White cover. Okay, so you've got the rarer variant. Depending on, that's the first edition. By the way, since you bring it up, I have 2 copies of that variant. That is the original one. And they re-released it. Vinyl Me Please, which is a subscription service, re-released it about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago now. And what's super cool about this is a couple of things. But my favorite thing is the color of vinyl that they chose to do it in. I joined Vinyl Me Please for a month just so I could guarantee to get this record. Check this out. Tell me this isn't the coolest thing you've seen today. Look at the color of that thing. So it's got those same 3 colors from the cover. And this is a mono pressing. You can always tell the Deca monos because they say long play 33 at the top. If they say stereophonic, then they're stereophonic. But what's mysterious about this, I've said this so many times, so I'm going to be brief, is that the master that they used is a mystery. A friend of mine who is a Patsy Cline discographer has a theory that it's a Canadian album reel because all the Patsy Cline's master materials were destroyed in the 2008 Universal Fire except for the greatest hits album reel. All the half-inch masters, gone. All the other album masters, gone. What is it worth? I know a little bit about the value of these records. So your original edition mono, that's probably a 1960 issue. If it's in, let's say it's in good condition, you could probably get anywhere from $30 to $60 in the open market for it. It's not as rare as her first album, But that being said, it's still more desirable than the much more commonly available variant, which has the red cover and a picture of her on the front of it. It's 3 years old, says Kyle. That is so weird. I would take the time. Well, first of all, if you're going to take it apart and you void your warranty and accept the risk, I wouldn't recommend doing that. Don't take apart your stuff. You shock yourself, you could hurt yourself. But if you're going to do that, I would maybe go the white lithium grease route on that spindle. If you don't want to go that far into it, you don't want to void your warranty, maybe wipe off what you can of the WD-40 and get some sewing machine oil or some 3-in-1 oil and just kind of let that drip down that motor shaft a little bit. Maybe try some deoxit and then work that around and then some lubrication of some sort. That would be cool. 3 colors. Yeah, that's super cool, man. What is the weirdest color record I own? Probably my Elvis. It's a weird color. So I've got this Elvis. Oh, where is it? Yeah. This cracks me up. So I bought this second in Charles, and it says gold vinyl. Tell me if this looks gold to you guys. Isn't that awful? That looks like skin. That's nasty. That is not, and it's translucent too. That's a gross colored record. That's probably the weirdest one. That's probably I don't have any of those like fluid filled records, which sounds gross to me. I don't want any of them either. Apparently there was a blood filled record that some band did. Nasty. No thanks. Come on now. You know what I mean? Like, jeez. Color vinyl is a gimmick to me. Only if the music is worth having do I consider. See, to me, the color of the record, I think it should be colored. It should be, that's part of the tactile thing, because I'm like, if we're going to have physical media, it's about watching it. It's about touching it. It's about not just the sound quality, but it's about the physical aspects of it. So to me, the appearance is a physical aspect. If I had to pick one up, Jaime says, which would you pick? The We Are Rewind or the FIO? They are both, to me, so close together sound quality wise. If I had to pick a favorite in terms of sound, it might be the FIO. It has a little bit better headphone amplifier. It's a little more powerful, but you don't have the Bluetooth connectivity that the We Are Rewind does, so you can't connect it to headphones that are wireless. It's also a little smaller, but I like both of them. They're both so close. So close. Hey, Ivy Poison, welcome in. DL4202 on the record label. Is that the one we were just talking about? Southeast Asian pressings of stuff tend to be colored. I do have a knockoff Beatles record that's, is that a colored record? Okay, now I'm going to look, because that one's been arm's reach too. And I know I got to wrap things up here.
How are you doing on time?
I'm not doing good on time. All right, that one's on black one. I know, I'm supposed to be on an hour and 22 minutes over. Okay, I got to wrap this up. I don't have time for this.
22 minutes
I'm 22 minutes over.
Busted.
I am busted. Thanks for all the advice, my friend. I'll try sewing machine oil. See that. Yeah, give that a shot. Loads of artists pushing out eco mix vinyl and HMV. Interesting. Music is the only reason I have vinyl, says Larry. Picked up a Smith single on Eco Mix the other day. They say picture discs have bad output. So I've done shows on picture discs. They're thinner grooves because of the way they're made. I love the colors. Now every store has their own. It's cool. Rain is laying down the law, says Larry. She is indeed. Is that wifey's voice? It is indeed the beautiful voice of the beautiful Mrs. Record-ology. Okay, so I got to wrap this up. We have 2 records that I picked up. This is my tiny haul.
Just now doing the haul.
Yes, I'm just now doing the haul. I've been talking way too much. Okay.
Hey, everybody.
Hey. Everybody say hi to Mrs. Record-ology. This is bad timing because you don't know what records I got, and I don't know if you would approve.
What?
Well, it's just
I don't.
Well, it's just that I don't need another copy of this. Okay.
Oh.
I got another copy.
You're gonna show them live, but you're not going to tell
Hey,
me.
you're watching live too.
Yeah, I'm watching.
Okay.
Yes.
So I paid $8 for this. This is How a Heartache Begins. This is one of her albums that was released with new music after her passing. But this is a very cool album cover, and it's
You already have that.
I know I have it, but this one is in immaculate condition. Except they put a price tag down here, which I thought I could
What's
pull
that
off, and it
movie
ruined.
where the guy buys multiple copies of that book? It's like Catcher in the Rye. The guy
Yeah,
keeps
I'm not
buying
like
the
that.
same-
I'm not like that.
Yeah.
This could be a different version, but for $8, I went for it. This is a great album too. This is a stereo version. So remember I was telling you guys, stereo decas will say stereophonic. So there it is. I have multiple copies of some things, but I don't have a problem. I can stop anytime. Kyle says hi. Ralph says hi. Old Radio says hi.
Hey,
Music Junkie says hi.
everybody's in the house tonight.
Everybody's in the house. Anyway, this is great stuff. And this is a rarer copy. You don't see this album very often. You don't see this. $8.
Oh no,
I went for-
Larry is defending your habits.
Good. Larry's a good friend. Patsy Cline deserves multiples. Yes.
Larry.
He knows. Absolutely. And on the back there, you can see the different albums. There's the more common variant of Showcase. So yeah, first album, second album, third album. These were the only 3 released during her lifetime. Then Portrait. Actually, the fourth one that was released right after her passing was Story. Then Portrait, and I think this was the last one. And the last official album released of hers before all the compilations was the 1967 Greatest Hits. So $8, picked it up. And then, hey Greg, welcome in, my friend. Never to pull off price stickers on. I know, I should have just left it. It ripped it. That was awful. Okay, then this one is weird and totally unrelated to the last one. But it's still very, very cool. This was something that I've been wanting to pick up. And you may be scratching your head when you see it, but it's a very good movie. Go with me here, guys. Trust me, this is a good movie. Three Stooges, Snow White and the Three Stooges. You may be like, what the heck? This is the best Three Stooges movie made, in my opinion. Now, this soundtrack is surprisingly good as well. This is 20th Century Fox, CinemaScope presentation. I don't even know who did the music in this. Screenplay, story produced by Chanford. It's like a Technicolor. It's a beautiful film. It's actually really, really good. The CinemaScope. Who did the music though? Anyway, it's just the score. It's just the soundtrack. And it's got an original inner sleeve. I love these full color inner sleeves. What did I pay for this? Like $3. It was like a killer deal. It's a Columbia 6-eye. Check that out. Gotta love a 6-eye when you find them. Sort of the premium one of the premium Columbia labels. It's a played, loved copy, but it's very listenable, I think, just by looking at it. It needs cleaning. So does the other record. But yeah, those are the only 2 records I bought this weekend. And I was super excited to find the Snow White and the Three Stooges. No, I paid a little more for this. It was like 13 or 14. Now I'm curious. But that's it. That is it. You know, in terms of the Patsy Cline stuff, I have a couple copies of a few albums. The first album, I try to pick those up anywhere I find them because I worked really hard to try and get my first copy of that. It was very special. In fact, my wife got it for me as a gift, and it was so special that I really ingrained in me the rarity of it and how special it was. It was the most I'd ever paid for a record at that point. And so now when I find them, I'm like, I try to snag them if they're decently priced. So I've got different iterations of them. And but it's a fun thing to do. So this is the first. This is a 1957 iteration with a black and silver label. Most of those that you find will say right about here will say featuring Walking After Midnight. That's the hype. It's not a sticker, but it's actually printed on there. And it was a 1960 or 61 issue on the Decca Rainbow label. So to find the original, this is the very end of the silver and black label with no hype. That's the true first edition first album, 1957. So anyway, yeah, that's it. Three Stooges, Snow White and the Three Stooges, and Patsy Cline, How a Heartache Begins. That's what I got. Life hack with the stickers on album covers. Grab a hairdryer and hover. Oh, man, I should have done that. I'm bummed. I should have done that. Thanks for showing that for me. Absolutely, my friend. Thank you, Greg. But did he open it and look at the vinyl inside the Patsy Cline LP? I did. In the store, I actually did. I thought to myself, Larry's going to ask me if I actually made sure the record was inside, because I'm really bad about just seeing the cover and being like, cool. And I have bought empty covers before. This one's in there. How a Heartache Begins. It's even the right record, which is nice. Same thing with the Stooges. But yeah, it's a good point. It's a very good point. I must admit, I think you have the largest Patsy Cline collection. I don't know. I mean, I've seen some people online that, you know, will collect all of the. If I consult my discography, yes, I have a pocket discography. This is the booklet for the collection. Anyway, there's all of these EPs, and these are expensive, dude. Like if you see these pop up on eBay. Each one of these EPs can be, you know, $200. And there's guys that have collected all of these. I saw this one guy that had like a wall in his hallway with all of these things. Just absolutely nuts. And for me, the albums, I have a handful of singles, maybe 10 singles, maybe 15 singles. And the first records, this is the Choral 78s are sort of holy grail. So I've got the first record, not on 78. But I've got the first record on 45. But you can see only the first 3 singles were released on Choral. So those are the rarest. Anywho, that's it, my friends. I've blabbed long enough. So let me finish up the comments here, and we'll say a fond adieu. And thank you so much for spending an hour and a half with me yet again. That seems to be my average of going an hour and a half when I should be going an hour. Where did you find the record, the frame for the record and sleeve? I found this one at, both of them at Hobby Lobby. That was kind of expensive. It was like $35 for that. And I didn't know that the white paper that was inside the frame, you were supposed to keep it. So I started folding it up to throw it away. That's why there's the crease in the middle there. But it still looks okay. Then the other one I've got on this one, let me see if I can show this. It's a round one. See that? It's right on the edge of the frame there. But that is a 45 and a round frame. I'd probably like to get a nicer frame for that at some point, but it works for now. And that, again, was from trying to get my camera to hook back on here. Come on, hook back on here. What are you doing? That was also from Hobby Lobby. Okay, don't fall down. Don't fall down. Yeah, cool. They were fun. Thank you guys for being here. Do I have an Audio-Technica LP1? I don't have the LP120 anymore. I've got very similar, made by the same company, the Pioneer PLX 500. Oh, man. I'll have to check that out. Thanks for the tip, Music Junkie. Appreciate it. All right, my friends. Thank you so much. If I forgot your comment, missed it, or didn't answer it appropriately, then I apologize. We'll try again next time. Mostly just thank you for being there. Thank you for the support. If you want more content, definitely check out our other videos, but I appreciate you being there. Take care of one another. God bless. Have a wonderful rest of the weekend, and we will see you real soon with more content, I promise. Happy record hunting. We'll see you next time.